Welcome to Console Crapshoot, where we spin a wheel to play a random video game on original hardware. We just got our original Xbox back from our modder, so I'll put it back on the shelf, and Carl's gonna put it back on his wheel. We've had a lot of luck getting systems we haven't gotten yet, fingers crossed for that again. And we did, Atari 5200. This is my dad's original Atari 5200. It's the first console I had in my house growing up. It was a very rare system, even at the time, and it looks like we've got 70 games on the wheel for the 5200. Gremlins. We had a lot of games for this system in our house, but this is not one that we had. So worth noting, the 5200 controllers are notoriously terrible. I did restore these ones by hand myself, so they work pretty good, but I want to try out my new custom 5200 joystick. Let's fire the old girl up. So yeah, like I said, this is my childhood 5200. Here's a picture of me watching my dad play it. But let's get into this game. This is an interesting one. This is actually the last game that was released for the 5200, and it came out in 1986, 2 years after the system was discontinued. The story basically goes that the programmer, John Seggers, he completed the game in June 1984. And it just so happened that that week, Jack Trammels took Atari over, and he decided to kill all the 5200 development. So the game was done, it was about to be released, and he said, no, I'd rather have these games sit in a warehouse somewhere than release any more 5200 games. Like I said, the system was kind of rare, didn't do very well, but I loved it. So it sat for 2 years, eventually things changed, some copies got out, and here we are. Any Atari game, obviously, is going to be pretty simple, but I've got to say, this game, for this era, for an Atari game, is actually really pretty good. It follows the rules set by the movie. If you've never seen Gremlins, I recommend seeing Gremlins. It's a classic. You got these little mogwais, and the rules for mogwais is don't let them get wet or they'll multiply. Don't let them eat food after midnight or they'll turn into gremlins. And there's food all over the board, and you can see the time at the bottom. It's always after midnight. You have to gather up all the mogwais, put them in this little box. Is the plural of mogwai or mogwais? Whatever. The gremlins are always trying to get to the box to let the mogwais out again, and you have a sword to murder gremlins with. Did not have a sword in the movie, but I'll take it. It's got kind of an overhead Robotron layout, not the control scheme, but the layout. As you get further, the levels obviously get much harder. You've got gremlins in the fridge throwing food around so that mogwai will turn into more gremlins. You've got popcorn machines that are going off, that are spewing popcorn everywhere, that you can go up to the popcorn machine and actually turn it off. There's a TV on some levels, and both the mogwais and the gremlins love TV, so they'll just freeze and stop and watch it, so you can take advantage of that. And you also get a limited number of these special weapons. I don't know what it actually is, but I know what it does. It just freezes the gremlins for a couple of seconds. But you figure I'd be desensitized to a game like this. I went into this thinking this was going to be really boring. But good game design is good game design. And I found that this is a rare Atari game that I just wanted to keep playing. I was finding myself not wanting to turn it off. I wanted to beat my previous score, which is the mark of a great game of this particular era. It was never about story. Everything was obviously very limited. But a good game of this era had this intangible thing that made you just want to keep going back and doing better than you did. This game certainly has that. I know that might age me a bit, but this game was a real hootenanny. Like I said, I didn't just play enough to get footage for this episode. I kept playing this game. So it's weird to think that this game never got much attention, not many people are aware of it, and we almost never got it. If you have an opportunity to play this, I recommend it. It's a shining example of this era of games. So let's get to it. Gremlins for the Atari 5200. I mean, I hesitate to give any game of this era a 5 out of 5, like it's a masterpiece. It's very simple, but it's just about as good as any other game you'll find on this system. And I'm saying that with absolutely no nostalgia for it because, like I said, I've never played this game before. And it's a hidden gem. I'm going to give Gremlins for the Atari 5200 a 4 out of 5. It's a great game, great experience, great game design. The 2600 version of this game doesn't even come close to this. I'm glad they didn't just port the same one over. The next time I fire up my 5200 just for fun, I am going to play this. It's great. Also watch the Gremlins movie. The debate of is it a Christmas movie or is it not is usually centered around Die Hard. But Gremlins is in that conversation too. And I say yes, it absolutely is a Christmas movie. What do you think? Please comment, like, share. Thanks everyone. See you next time.